Hello everybody, today we are at the Machida Tenmangu Garakuta Antique Market, which is usually held on the 1st of every month. Apart from January and November, they change that date because it coincides with other events at the shrine. Like with all outdoor markets though, the weather may affect whether it's being held that day. Say if it's too hot in July or August, they may finish earlier than usual. This was a visit in June, and it was a very pleasant day to go to the market. And here is the yen to US dollar exchange rate at time of edit, should you like it for reference to convert into your own currency. So welcome back everyone, hope you're well, and welcome everyone who is new. Should you be joining us to help with your travel plans, details of where we visit as well as links to market lists are in the description box below each video. We usually find the larger versions of these bottles. They're called kayoi tokkuri, and customers would take them to sake or soy sauce stores for refilling. Lovely shape on this Kokeshi doll. It's a sosaku or creative style Kokeshi. What do you think of the shape? She's quite sweet, isn't she? This will be one of the wise monkeys. Speak no evil. Nikko is famous for these monkeys, so it's probably a souvenir from there. This is a hiker's water bottle, although some say military, but it's more for mountain climbing and it has a compass on the top. Now this is a cargo tool called nonko and used for moving things like bales of rice, boxes, fish at auctions. Basically, it helps when you're moving heavy items. I have some at home that I'll show you. Slightly shorter handle on this one, but the purpose is the same. There's a two-prong one here. You can use them as gardening tools. Here's one with a longer handle. It's branded with a kanji character, so I guess that could be the company name or the person who used it. You see these used at fish auctions, like for large fish, for example, tuna. This box is called masu, and they're used to measure things like rice or grains. And this over here is a mirror made of copper and typically date back to the Edo period. Accessories, usually not sterling silver or gold filled or plated, but if you have time to dig, you never know. There's usually 70s to 90s vintage. Do you recognize this type of ceramics if you watch the pottery market video? Tobeware. I like the look of these lacquerware cups, the handle shape in particular. I see these handle shapes on ceramics, but not so much on lacquerware. And this bobblehead or kubifuri kokeshi is the Bodhisattva Kannon. Specifically, this one is from a temple in Gunma Prefecture where their Kannon statue is 41.8 meters in height, so quite tall. So I couldn't find anything while researching, but wondered if they could be from the 1920s to 30s as they have an Art Deco look about them. A lidded container with the oribe green glaze. It's from a well-known Mino-ware kiln called Rokube. This is their stamp. They're known for producing many of the Mino styles like oribe ware, shino ware, kiseto ware, etc. Everything 500 yen in this box. This is pretty with the peony. It feels like hand-painted enamel. Look, it was for ANA, the airline company, so perhaps they gifted them to people on first class, like back in the bubble years. Got lots of dento or traditional kokeshi. There are 11 or 12 strains of these types of dolls, and some are easier to identify than others. This is the Kijiyama type from Akita Prefecture, which is easy to recognize because they're made in one piece, like one block, and they're usually wearing a kimono with what looks like an apron, and the head looks like an upside-down egg. And the Naruko strain from Miyagi Prefecture are easy to spot too because they typically have hair hanging down straight and chrysanthemum patterns on the body, and when you twist the neck, it makes a sound. So here is a Naruko Kokeshi. So let's try it. Ready? I totally meant to buy these, I forgot. I like to make sets of neutral colors or bright colors and always try to find them in the original pairs. The obi belts hanging are quite fancy, whereas these ones on the table are more suited to people who wear kimono frequently as their regular attire. This time of year, kimono vendors sell both kimono and the lighter version, the yukata. This is a yabane pattern, which means arrow feathers. Once an arrow is shot, it never returns, so brides were often given kimonos with this motif in the hope that she would be very happy in her new home and never have to return to the parental home. This looks like a brutalist design candle holder. Not sure it's Japanese. Maybe one of you will recognize it from your own country. This vendor's shop name is Fu Manchu. I'll put a QR code up for his Instagram because he's a cool dude and he rotates around several markets, so you might see his stall somewhere else. He sells both Japanese and non-Japanese vintage and antiques. We were actually talking about how hard it is to identify Japanese pottery and how experts can even be unsure or have errors. Some glazes and techniques kind of cross over. You can picture a very sculptural ikebana arrangement working with that bowl. Here's a copper vase, and then this one is a candy dish from Mashiko. These colored glazes are quite typical of Mashiko ware. The iron glaze, and then you have that kind of turquoise, greenish blue color too. Same with this incense case, also from Mashiko. And then we have a peony motif, tokuri, and this one also has that greenish, bluish glaze. There are so many regions with a similar color glaze, which I believe are copper oxide-based glazes. Here are just some examples, and you would have just seen a Kasama ware one too. Also, I bought this at a gift shop in Fukushima Prefecture many years ago. It's Aizu Hongo ware, and they also have a similar color glaze. So this is just a small example of the challenges you encounter in identifying Japanese pottery. The bowl with a spout is called a katakuchi. It's especially good for foods that include a broth, and that's got a nice fat bottom on that bizenware vase. And here's a mizusashi water jar for tea ceremony with that oribe glaze. Wonder what the one at the back is. It's 3,000 yen. And this is a mud skipper shaped vase. We're at a different vendor's now. This tokoname ware teapot set with the crane design is 1,000 yen. Bargain price. Wooden spools for threads. I love this chest of drawers. I don't think it's for sale. It's a kimono vendor who uses these to display obijime or obi ties. This piece I would think is from China, and it almost has a human-like face. It was quite heavy when I tried to pick it up, so probably cast iron. Look at this amazing susudake basket-style ikebana vase. Susudake translates as soot bamboo, and the bamboo gets this darker color from being smoked in a sunken hearth. Cigarette case made of tortoise shell. And then there's some jade pieces here. So that was a nicely curated booth. Let's have a look at another. Calligraphy equipment, brushes, and suzuri or inkstone. And the blocks up here are the ink sticks. I love this plate and I'm getting this. Both the vendor and the vendor in the stall next door who joined in the conversation thought it was cusp Taisho to Showa period, so mid-1920s. I bought it because I haven't seen this exact one before. It should be positioned this way up with the carp leaping out of the water. It signifies overcoming obstacles and achieving successes in life or reaching your goals, most likely associated with the Chinese legend about a carp climbing up a waterfall and turning into a dragon. We also hang carp streamers on May the 5th to wish for the health, courage, and growth of our children. Although you can definitely tell it's being used as a plate, it's also enjoyable as a decorative piece. Okay, back to the market. This vase has kanyu or crackle glaze. It's a deliberate crazing technique. Kanyu technique also on this large hagiware teapot. Only 2,500 yen including the wooden box. This vendor had almost flea market-like prices. Some more traditional style kokeshi, 500 yen. This one, see how her hair curves inwards? This is typically the Zao Takayu strain from Yamagata Prefecture, but there's also variants. Always variants. And that one up there with the long face and top knot, that is typical of Tsugaru style from Aomori Prefecture. These totte or handles for sliding doors are in excellent condition. They can be quite high priced at antique markets, but on online auctions like Yahoo Auction in Japan, you can get them for about maybe 3,000 yen a pair. Those are good prices for the cast iron kettles or teapots. I'm always so drawn to these. They are koimari, so old imari, but the nabeshima ware type with this light green celadon glaze. Really good transfer ware from about 150 years ago. You can hear the wind chimes in the background. This weapon with spikes is called a kanabo, and it's a kind of mace, type of mace. The 16th century daimyo or Lord Takeda Shingen was thought to have carried one, like you can see here in this illustration. It looks quite vicious, doesn't it? There's some textiles and yukata hanging up. I got some maekake aprons here. We'll have a rummage. I'm quite picky about them. This one I like though, with the lion. It says Almighty both in Japanese and English. The company is Fukue Hiryo Kabushiki Gaisha, so it's a company from Hyogo Prefecture which started in 1954, and they sell fertilizer. And one of the products, an organic chemical fertilizer, was branded as Almighty, and they launched that in 1958. This kawaii cute one, I like the fact that it had a pocket. Katazome stencil dyed textile. So much work went into dyeing that. It's very detailed. And these are good for making yukata. We love that hemp leaf pattern in Japan. We call it asanoha. I know Nippori is famous for their fabric town. However, if you are looking for Japanese traditional textiles, you may find something suitable at some of the antique markets. And the quality is usually good of the textile itself. You just have to make sure there aren't any stains from storage conditions, the yellowing that can happen. This looks like boro up here with a bit of a sashiko stitching. Obi belt for men. I quite like this one. It's what I would describe as shibui. So that's, I guess, cool or sophisticated or classy. This type of obi is called heko obi and traditionally used by men or children, but women are recently using them too for a more casual look. Men's yukata. It would be made to measure, so the more vintage they are, the likelihood they'll be smaller, which is the same in most countries, isn't it? People are getting taller and broader. It was a beautiful blue sky day. It wasn't hot yet. June wasn't so rainy this year either. We barely had a rainy season. So here on this patchwork boro piece, you can see there's basic sashiko stitching to reinforce the fabric. We'll have a look inside that building a bit later. I think this is a Korean antique, but it's split down the middle, poor thing. It was really quiet on this day because it was a Sunday, so there were multiple markets happening at the same time, including the larger popular ones or more touristy ones like Oedo Antique Market. And I'm not trying to deter anybody from going to those at all because they're lovely. And some of the vendors from this particular market will be at the bigger markets. But if you're looking for just a chilled out vibe, then if the first of the month falls on a Sunday, this may be your perfect market. Those made of vintage and antique textiles. The pattern with the dots is called yukinko kasuri. Yukinko is snowflake, but the literal translation is snow child, like a winter fairy. And kasuri is the Japanese equivalent of ikat. The threads are resist dyed before they're weaved to create patterns and have a blurry or hazy appearance. Inside the stall, they also have the textiles upcycled into bags. Can you see the two phoenixes? Some tenugui, cotton hand towels, men's obi belt. That's new old stock, never been used. The hang tag looks kind of older, so it has to be at least 20 years old or over. It's definitely vintage. This is kakishibu, which is a kind of stain or dye made from a type of persimmon, which is fermented and then used along with lacquer to make ikkanbari products like baskets and trays, but also used for dyeing fabric like what we just saw. It gives it that kind of sepia, light brownish color. And then we've talked about these before. I think it was the Hanazono Shrine Market video. The basket's made of wild grapevine. This looks like an ikkanbari. It's the vendor's tray for personal use. They have lots of pieces for crafts like beads and seeds and buttons and coral. Interesting texture on that one. Handmade glass beads, that's pretty. Mahjong pieces with holes already drilled through them, so easy to string. Mahjong counting stick or point stick. And some acorn caps to glue on top of acorns made of fabric. And these are a kind of card game called Karuta, and the old pieces were made from wood. See, here's how you use those acorn caps. Can you guess what these are? Abacus beads. This print was cool of a kabuki actor. I also quite like this chochin, the lantern, and an envelope for gifting money to children, also thank you money. Gifting money is a Japanese custom, and we don't call it tipping, but depending on the situation, we will gift money on top of a service already being provided. I love these ones that are made of washi paper. Okay, we've come back to the main section of the market, and we're going to go into this building, which I think is actually their stage for no performances. So this vendor had a lot of kimono related things. You probably recognize the Kasuri textiles now. I think this shibori might have been put in the wrong pile because it's 2,000 yen. That's ridiculously cheap, unless maybe it has a lot of damage. We got some obijime, obiage, heko obi. And these types of obiage you only use for formal occasions. Back here on the tenugui, this one has no stains, which is brilliant, as they more than often have yellowing. Paper also easily foxes here because of the climate conditions with humidity in the summer. Like this one here has the yellowing, and it's most likely unused. It's often in the folds too, so you have to check. This is cool with the castle, but it has damage. It's for a period drama, most likely why there's a castle on it. This does look like sashiko embroidery. I think it looks hand done, right? Is this a phoenix? Or is this even Japanese? I don't know, I'm confused. But it's 20,000 yen, so it must be hand stitched. I feel like this vendor's boro is priced a little bit lower than other markets and also online. And he has some hanten hanging up there. These are all aizome, indigo dye, hand dyed. And this one is stencil dyed, katazome. This one is tie-dye with stitching applied too. I remember my mother having something similar, and she used it as a tablecloth. But I think you can use it as a bed cover or even a wall hanging. I love the design on this one. It's a noren, our traditional curtain. See, it's split down the middle. It's very, very long. We hang this type of noren in our doorways within our homes, but I wonder maybe abroad you could use it as a wall hanging. Now this shibori, look at how much work has gone into it. There was a little stain on there, but it's such a good price. It was a circular pattern on a square piece of cloth, and this was its center. Some furisode, which are kimono with the long sleeves. These are worn by girls on coming of age day in the year that they turn 20. Again, not a bad price on the shibori. So there was quite a lot to dig through up on this stage area today. This vendor collects and sells items that are pretty different to the rest of the market, like charcoal coal irons and enamel pieces. The green pieces could be uranium glass. The marquetry on the coasters is called yosegi daiku. These are emblems that were on safes. The gold one with Tokyo Takasaki, the Japanese is written right to left, so it means pre-World War II. Not sure if this whale-shaped leather piggy bank is that old, but I looked it up and it has a zipper mouth, so that's how you get the coins out. This vendor had lots of cutesy things. It may have had some Scandinavian pieces too, but they were starting to pack up, so I'd love to check it out right at the start of the market another time. Their display was very well organized, or just so. That makes my friend crack up. I always say just so. I think that's a British thing. Do you recognize this glass vase? I'm sure we saw the exact one at one of the Book Off Super Bazaar visits. So it was a pleasant, quiet day at this market. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here, I do have an online shop. You can scroll down to see new products or go straight into the shop to have a look. I've dropped a QR code on the left, which will take you straight to the website. Thank you so much again for joining me, and see you in the next one. Bye!